Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And I am your host, as always, Capri, aka Cap. And in today's video, I want to show two clips on behalf of two different sisters, two different black women, both, by the way, on behalf of Instagram, on behalf of how black women, some black women usually get with good men that may make usually good providers, good husbands, good fathers, all of the above, only to end up usually blowing it with those men that they usually get that are usually some of the most upstanding, decent, mild manner, in some cases, clean cut men they could usually find. And some women, other women would be raring to get with without no hesitation. With that being said, I'm going to cut further to the chase by showing both clips just so you could be able to, for yourself, hear, ladies and gentlemen, from quote unquote the horse's mouth on behalf of two different examples of how black women do from time to time used to get with good slash upstanding slash decent men, only to usually fumble the ball, so to speak, and only to usually also blow it, so to speak. So if you bear with me, I'm going to have an awesome privilege of sharing my screen and showing you both clips. Let me go to my profile, my IG profile, and all my saved content.
To marry because I was too hot in the ass. I was thinking I was the shit and had options. And I did. But they wasn't good fucking options. I ended up losing a man that I would call 3 o'clock in the morning because I wanted to cut him. And this man was coming town to see me. You know what I mean? 3 o'clock in the morning. What man you know doing that? I had a man that knew me and my son was in the house hot as fuck. He went out of his way and spent $300 on getting me and my baby an air conditioner to put in our house. And me and that man ended up hitting a rough patch in our relationship. And I decided to go seek, other options because I thought they was better. And at the time dealing with it and being in the midst of it, it might have seemed like it was better. It might have seemed like, yeah, this is a lot better. But after it's all said and done, that shit wasn't better. You know why? Because that man that I was supposed to marry wouldn't have had me. I ended up losing the man that I was supposed to marry because I was too hot in the ass dealing with my pregnancy alone. He wouldn't have left me out to go to every single appointment by myself. He wouldn't have had me in a delivery room by myself giving birth to not one but two babies at one time. That man wouldn't have missed his kid's first birthday. That man wouldn't have not seen his kids in over a year in person. That man wouldn't have fed me bullshit and lies and excuses on why he couldn't be there or why he can't show up. He would have made a way. And it's like, I just say all this to say, like, you really don't know what you got until it's gone. You really don't know the value of things until it's gone. And I'm not even trying to bash my baby father or anything like that or speak down on him. But it's like, if I had known better at the time and I wasn't so young, dumb, and full of calm, I wouldn't have did that. If I had known better, I would have done better. And every day I'm working towards trying to forgive myself for that because he didn't deserve that. And, women make mistakes too. It really ain't all the men that out here that be cheating and lying and, doing stuff like that. Like, women have babies on men too. And I'm sadly one of them. But I love my kids with everything in me. And I wouldn't trade them for nothing in the world. But I just wished I would have picked a better father for them. Dealing with my
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
That's the late great Kevin Samuels right there. Let me show you another clip.
I went on a first date, and when I opened the door, my man was at my front door, and I was like, "Oh, like right." And then he hit me with the Rico. He pulled the flowers out, and I was like, "Wow, this is different, right?" So I'm not even paying attention. I brush past this, trying to walk down the steps and get to the door, right? Because I'm not paying attention. I'm just so not used to it, and it just hasn't like I just didn't have a lot of practice. He opened my car door. I get inside. He closed the door. I immediately went to my group chat. It's weird.
Did you say he opened your car door?
High five.
No. Now let me explain, right? Let me explain. By the time we got to the restaurant, my follow-up text was, y'all, that's my bad. I just realized and all that stuff we be talking about, we don't really want it. And I felt like he technically did everything that we be saying we be wanting. In my mind, instinctively, my first thought was he corny. But he really did everything that we want. But I went on a first date.
Now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and get back to StreamYard so I could be able to give my 2 cents, so to speak, on this here topic. See, fellas, some women, no matter how good you may have it as a man, how, in other words, successful you may have it, even if you may have graduated college, after college went to the military, or vice versa, went to the military before college, and are able to pay cash money for practically any house you may want, any vehicle you may want, could even be able to do so for whatever woman you were to become seriously involved with. That's not enough in most cases for the average modern day Black female. Now, there are other races of women as well who are just as hard to please, just as delusional when it comes to their standards. But I'm referring to this here video specifically to my sisters, my Black American women, on behalf of how some of them are just so hard to deal with and hard to please, to the point where you could literally be able to match on a dating app when one be the exact personification of what she's always been looking for in a potential partner, a potential marriage partner, only for her to still not be satisfied, only for her to still find some kind of dislike or complaint, have some kind of complaint about you. And after showing the last lady in the last and second clip, this just goes to prove my point of where I'm coming from. After how she said that the guy did everything that most women want in a man, how he showed how much of a gentleman he was when he went on a date, took her out on a date, only for her to still look at him as corny, as weird. And this is just a prime example also of why so many brothers have went as far as going outside the country and getting them passports just to be able to find them long-term marriage partners and women who will accept them for themselves without being looked at as a goofball or too corny, too lame, things of that nature, due to how so many modern day Black American women are just so hard to deal with, so hard to please, and so hard to figure out. I'm preaching today. I'm cooking today, y'all. I know y'all never heard me talk like that, but I am. And how many of you guys can relate to being with women of this magnitude that I just showed in the last 2 clips, and only for these same types of women, and I'm referring to my good, upstanding, decent, mild-mannered brothers. In some cases, if you are the type a guy who may like to keep a clean haircut, may not have any dreads, braids, and also like to keep your beard trimmed up, or if you don't have a beard, you may have a mustache. Some of you may even be barefaced. You may happen to fit this same exact description of the type of brother I'm referring to, only to still have such a hard time finding your ideal someone. And this is also, in a sense, I see why so many guys, when they do look for women on dating apps, they are looking for only one thing, and that is just to do random hookups with women. And I'm referring once again to my brothers, my Black men who don't want a long-term relationship. And I don't blame them after showing these last 2 clips of these types of women who said they had a man who meant them some good, only to still not be satisfied. And see, brothers, for the most part, if you're not a guy who is not under the influence of either some kind of narcotic or some kind of alcoholic beverage, if you're not the type of guy from the streets who may happen to talk like you have only a 5th grade education, and you may happen to be one of those types of brothers who's not always in trouble with the law, one of those same types of brothers who is not tatted up or doesn't have any goals in his mouth or doesn't drive one of those old school whips from the 70s or the 80s or older, when you know one of those old school whips with the big rims on them and a sound system with the factory aftermarket candy paint job. In most cases, you're usually invisible and not, might I also add, if you're not the type of brother who's not always talkative all the time, and not just talkative, but always trying to create a scene where you go is very belligerent and obnoxious wherever you go, you still, in most cases, are invisible to the average Black American female, because there are so many Black American females that will pass over the brother who's got himself together, who's got a good head on his shoulder, so to speak, who's very well educated, who's articulate. Not that I'm trying to say all Black people can't speak proper English, because my point of saying this is some women look at that as a turn off, and some even look at that as look at you as a threat when you're a brother who has his vernacular on point, who also is very well mannered, respectful to everybody, a brother who has his own car, who is able to afford a brand new car, who's able to practically afford any kind of house he may want without having to go through a first-time home owner's loan program, instead be able to pay a down payment for his very own and first house. A brother who could be able to have a house at that built from the ground up. Some women look at you, some sisters look at you fellas, may look at you as a serious threat due to how some may have from all the way from early childhood, what I mean by that, their middle school years and older, may have been so used and adapted to dealing with the street brothers, the hood types of brothers, to the point where that's all they know, that's the only type of brother who they may look at as not only someone who's compatible with them, but someone who's always who they also would define as a real man, or as some of these women who are hood rats would like to consider him a real nigger. Excuse my language. Anyways, you guys, first and foremost, like the video, you share, you comment, and last but not least, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a good one.